Well, parts have arrived, so let's move the forklift and get it into position and see if we can get this cylinder back together. Looks like we got a little friend here. So let's see if this thing will start. I guess we'll choke it. I can't imagine it being out of gas. But I'll see if I've got any in my can still. If I do, put some gas in it and we'll try it again. All right, I'll put the rest of what was in my 5-gallon can in it. All right, I think our fuel pump's dead. All right. We've got a fuel pump that is now pumping. Just threw that clicky clack. So we got a weak fuel pump. It's raining. We are rolling out. And we are stuck in reverse. Not good. Put that in neutral. Try to get this one. Oh, it is like stuck. Why is it stuck in reverse? There it goes. And we want low. Leave it there. All right, I'm not sure what we're gonna do there. For now, you know, we've got this. It's a tiny jump lead. It worked though. Yeah, so we've got that. I'll look into a new mechanical fuel pump. We've had issues with it. If you remember last time it wasn't pumping, and I went ahead and threw some more gas in it and it started pumping. And so I was like, well, maybe it could have been out of gas. But yeah, I'm curious, now that we've run it some, let's see if anything has happened on the oil side. Let me get a rag. All right, oil level is still good. It's not overfilled. It's slightly down from when we changed it. So it has, leaked a little, but it's still nice and thick. It does not smell like gas. So I don't think our fuel pump is leaking, but it is not pumping. So I'll have to do something. I'll look and see about maybe getting one, or if we want to, keep the clicky clack. I don't know, but I'll figure out something and let y'all know what decision I decide, I guess. All right, so this is what we've got to do next, is get this cleaned up. So I bought a brass wire wheel for my angle grinder. I'm gonna see what it'll do on it, and this is by far the worst of it. It's about midway on the shaft, and I'm gonna see what it'll do. Worst case scenario, we will get some emery cloth and, you know, try that. But I want to try the brass wheel first. So let me do that, and I'll bring y'all back and show you end results. Well, it's getting a leather chair treatment, I guess, using the chair to hold it. So here's the worst of it, where we thought. I've got it to where the high spots are off. I think we're just gonna run it. It's just a dust seal pretty much on the top side. So I think we're gonna run it. If we end up having issues, we could run the cylinder up halfway. The bad spots stop here. So we could run it up to here, and we could, without disassembling it, we could do some kind of a repair here, you know, some JB weld. But I think before I do something like that, I just want to try it. I don't want to make things worse, you know, so we'll try it. It may seal, it may not. Like I said, this is a single action cylinder, so there is only hydraulic pressure on the bottom side of the ram, so there's not hydraulic pressure on this sealing surface. The rest of it was kind of about like this, you know, surface rust, but hitting it with that brass wire wheel has smoothed it out, so it feels smooth. I don't think we've got any issues in any of these spots. The bottom half of the cylinder looks great. There's really not any, there's not even stuff like this. So it's just this top half. He told me that they had this thing stored with the mast partly up. I guess that's correct. As bad as this thing leaked, I'm not sure how, unless it started leaking after they got it going again. I really don't know, but this is pretty bad here. You know, I'm not sure what caused it to get this bad. And then this here, yeah. Kind of my theory, you know, I'm wondering is if it wasn't stored up, but like I said, maybe some water seeped in through that top seal, and it did condensate in the cylinder. And so the top of our cylinder for sure had some rust, and maybe that's what caused this. I don't know. I guess I should have had some gloves on. But we've got it about as good as we were gonna get it. And I'm not gonna hit it with some emery cloth. I don't think it would help any. So from what I can feel, this all feels like pitting. I hit it pretty hard to get the high spots off with that wheel, and I think we've gotten all the high spots off. So I'm gonna clean the shaft up, and then we're gonna put the new seal on the end of it. So we've got the ram cleaned up. Hopefully the sun coming through is not washing it out too much. I think you can see pretty good. So I just put it on the forklift because that's, I guess, about as easy of a place to work on it. My workbench is a little short for this ram. So here's our original seal, or whatever you want to call this, kind of a cup, and it's hard as a rock. I mean, it's pretty stiff. And if you look, the diameter of it is actually smaller than, I think they call this a piston ring. But this, my understanding of this is just to keep the cylinder centered, you know. And then this kind of went like this. And bolted like that. And it had some safety wire through the bolts. So, as I had mentioned, wasn't sure what seal number, but I've been watching this one on eBay, It is a 662-400. It is a new old stock Clark seal. It is probably from the 60s or 70s. And it feels pliable. So I think we're okay there. I don't think it's dried out or whatever. I don't know what it would have felt like new, but we're gonna try running it. And the best I can tell by comparing the two, they are the same. They got the same notch, the hole pattern's the same, the diameter here is the same. We can't really compare the outer diameter because, I mean, you can see the difference. But if you compare them there, they are the same. This side that's not worn as bad, the non-tapered side. So I've got this cleaned up, and this does not look like it has a certain way it has to go. There is a little notch cut out there, but it doesn't fit into anything, so I don't think that really matters. So I think we just go for it. We put it like this, and we do like that, and we put our bolts in. Pretty simple setup here. So we're gonna do this. I'm just gonna start them all. I don't know what the torque spec is here. I will just look up generic 1/4 inch bolt torque specs. Maybe 9 foot-pounds or something, 10 foot-pounds, I don't know. So, and I did clean the bolts up. So I'm gonna look up some torque specs for these, and then there's a website. I'll try to put it in the description, but they are pretty good about crossing Clark part numbers. It's a bearing and seal company, and you can put the Clark number in, which I did, and it crossed over to a national 470380, and it is thinner, but it is the same diameter. So same diameter, but like I said, thinner, and then the seal surface is the same. So what we're actually going to do here is we will just press it in flush. I've got this cleaned up, so I will press that in, and we're just going to go flush with this surface here, and that should be good there. So I'm gonna do that real quick. I'll bring y'all back once we get some torque specs. Actually, I'll probably just set y'all up with some time lapse, and we will torque these down, and then I'm gonna tie wire this like they had it. Aircraft mechanics will probably go nuts over my tie wire job here, so don't hate me for it. It will not be the best job, but I think it'll be good enough. Actually, we're gonna do two things. I'm gonna take these back out. I'm gonna put some blue Loctite on them and put them back in with, and then we'll torque them and tie wire them. I think that makes me feel better. It's not gonna hurt to have some blue Loctite on them, so we're gonna do that. I'll bring y'all back after we get all this done. Like I said, y'all can watch me do it on time lapse. Well, I'm sure I butchered our tire wire job. I'm sure there's a routing you're supposed to go that keeps it from ever getting slack in the bolts, and I've done it incorrectly, but they will not completely fall off. Maybe they can loosen, but like I said, we put some blue Loctite on there. I think it'll be fine. So the next thing we've got to do is, I think we're going to need to collapse this down. This is going to be really hard to get on there, and I'm worried about messing it up. So we're going to put a piston ring compressor on it. But I think the other thing we're going to do is go ahead and put the top plate on. I've cleaned it up, and I've cleaned up the surface of the top of the cylinder. I've cleaned up this surface and the mating surface on the top. We will put, I think, some aviation, that brush-on aviation stuff on it, but we're going to put some grease here, and I think we'll go ahead and slide this on, because I think we're going to end up with the suction where we may not be able to push this cylinder all the way down, and I think it'll be too tall to try to then slip this over the end and get it down. So if we have this already on the cylinder, I think that'll make our life easier as far as getting this thing together. I'm going to wait to put any stuff on here until we get it actually to that point. You know, I can just slide this up a little bit, put some stuff on it, and then slide it into place and bolt it down. So that's kind of the plan. Yeah, so let me put some grease here. I say grease, I'll probably use my transmission assembly goo and put on here, and then we're gonna put something on this, probably transmission assembly goo, just because I know that won't hurt any seals or anything. And it's already got a brush to make this easy. So we'll put that on the piston ring on here, and then I bought a smaller piston ring compressor. I don't think the one I normally use would go this small, so I bought a smaller one to try to do this with. The top of the cylinder bore is tapered to help this thing start, but I don't think it's gonna make it. And this thing is pretty rigid. I just don't want to risk tearing it up. Like I said, it's new old stock. I have no idea if it's as pliable as it was, you know, off the assembly line. So we're just gonna play it safe. Sorry, I got y'all stuck to the floor jack and I bumped it. I'll clean this up best I can. I didn't paint it or anything, just because the rest of this thing is not painted. As far as the bushings and stuff, you know, this piston ring, I think I did find it. It is like well over $100. I think it was like $130 or more when I found it. So stuff like that, I mean, we're just gonna have to let it go, because that stuff will add up quickly. I mean, that should be plenty. All right, I will get y'all set up. Oh, before I get y'all on time lapse, let's see if we can get this guy on here. Ooh, it is gonna spring back like crazy. Try to just let it out just a little bit. Trying to hold it because it's wanting to really spring. Okay, let's slide this forward, get that centered. And try to collapse this thing down. I think we'll go with that. We may have to do it more, I don't know, but we're gonna start there. It's not quite rounding it, so I don't want to, you know, it's a little oblong, so I don't want to mess anything up. We're gonna do one more click. I think we're gonna leave it at that, and we'll see if we can get this thing on there. I'm gonna go take, before I set y'all up, I'm gonna take some of that assembly goo and get the tapered portion of the ram and probably the first part of it, you know, the first few inches into the ram, just coat it in that stuff just to help it all slide together. All right, I could not have asked that to go any better than it did. And I think I'm feeling pretty good about it because it airlocked and I could not get it to slide down, and it acted like a spring, you know, an air spring. You know, you could kind of bounce it against the air pressure and it wouldn't go any further. And so then once I got the top plate on, I came down here and put the handle in the down position, like lowering position, and it started bubbling up through the tank, you know, as it was letting that air go back into the hydraulic tank. So I'd say that's pretty good. That's a pretty good sign, I think. I mean, this thing wouldn't even hold with hydraulic fluid prior, and now it's sealing with just air. So I think that's pretty good, and the pressure will expand that seal out towards the cylinder the way that taper is made. That's kind of how these things work. You know, you get hydraulic fluid under this putting pressure, and it's supposed to expand this out and make it a tighter seal around the cylinder. And that's kind of how this little thing, you know, can lift thousands of pounds. You've got that hydraulic pressure putting a lot of pressure against this seal to push outwards against the cylinder walls. So I don't know what I did with my aviation, maybe our aviation, brush on aviation stuff. I don't know where it is. So I just put some right stuff on here. To be honest, it didn't look like it had anything on it. It may not take anything. It may be tight enough fit, you know, machine surface that it needs nothing. Like I said, there's nothing really here pressure wise. It all goes, I don't know if you can see the return. Can you see the return? The return's right here. So anything, any air, any whatever that gets trapped just flows through this hose back to the tank. So there's really no pressure here. So main thing we're doing is making sure with a good seal here, we're not allowing water or dirt in, and kind of the same thing, you know, with the flange there. So I think the right stuff would be just fine. So I went ahead and greased the bearings in that top plate. I will set up some time lapse, and we're gonna go ahead and start putting that thing into place. that's it. So I've greased these bearings. They're all right. One of them was a little stiff, but they don't feel that bad. So I think they're going to be fine. There we go. So all that looks good. It's kind of, as I was going, looking at bolts and stuff, these all look good. These 4 look good. These 4 look good. These 2 look good. And this strap looks good. So I think for the most part, all of that is fine. Put eye locks on those 4 just because obviously the nuts were missing. The nut was missing off of one, and another one was loose. So I'd rather just put eye locks on them and not have to worry about them. So we're gonna start it up and see if it'll work. Well, if nothing else, it's an improvement because it wouldn't even hold itself like that. Well, I'm going to stand on it. And it's staying. So I would say that's a good sign. Now, one thing I'm going to do real quick. This is just fluid film. I figure fluid film's as good as anything, right? So I got to put something. And just putting where these rollers ride. Everything's a little rusty, so if nothing else, it'll help keep it from rusting more, right? We're out of fluid. Yeah. Yeah. I hear it. We are out of fluid. I'm going to shut it off, put some more fluid in it. All right, we're gonna run it up again. I don't know how much oil to put in it. You know, it doesn't have a dipstick or anything. So it may still be low. I hear it low again. Pretty high up there. We're gonna try that. If we get too much in it, probably the way to do it would be to lower everything all the way down and fill it from a couple inches from the top, and then with each cylinder all the way in, that should ensure that you don't overfill it. So adding fluid to it with it up, probably not a good idea, because I could definitely overfill it and it puke out the fill cap when we let it back down. All right, we got our fluid film. Let's spray some more. Yeah, this mast has got some wear on the side. Definitely could benefit from lube. All right, that's all the way up. I will say this fluid film goes a long way. This was a new can, but I mean, it's still got a lot in it. It's a good value for how much they pack in this can, because I have sprayed the whole thing. I think that's good. And hopefully it doesn't puke out. Within about 3 inches from the top. I think I'm going to leave it there for now. And a necessity for any forklift. It's even got a spot in the steering wheel for it. It's made for it. So picked up one, and yeah, perfect. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get close enough to lift this thing or not, but because the edge of the we may have to drag it. Yeah, that was what I was afraid of. I got no brakes to. May have to use both hands for this. Let's see. This thing is junk. It was a free mower I got just for the engine. It's a spare engine for the spare engine I got for the John Deere Zero Turn, or that's why I'm holding on to it. So it is just a vessel to hold said engine. Let me get a different approach to it. There's a hard corner for the little slab right there. That's what's holding us off. I can't get closer. So let me try to get a little straighter and see if we can get to it, and we'll try to lift this thing up. All right, we got under the front of it. So I think what we're going to try to do is pull it backwards a little bit. And this thing's doing really good. I don't plan on using it outside. You know, it is for moving stuff around in the shop. I would like to be able to drive it to, we've got 2 barns here, drive it to each barn, which is hard packed, and then concrete to get to those. And then the barns are concrete floor. And that way, you know, we can use this thing to put hay in the loft, is my thought. You know, put a pallet on it, put hay on the pallet, lift it up. That's kind of my thought. So it will have to get transported from the shop to the barn, but it's all stuff like this. This is extremely hard packed gravel. It is not loose gravel. So it does pretty good. So, and it just rained. So, and it's doing all right. Let's see if we can drag this thing backwards. now I should be able to get to the side of it. When we get on the side of it now, and we'll lift it up. Okay. Let's put this thing in neutral. I think that's as much as I want to go up with it. Now, is it leaking down? I do not see it leaking down. Not that heavy of a machine to lift. I mean, I don't know. What do y'all say, 400 or 500 pounds, maybe? And we did get all the way through both sides of the frame. But I'd say that's pretty good. I mean, what are you gonna do? You wanna see if we can drive around with it? Not, of course, not that high, but maybe we try to drive around a little bit on it and just see how it does on the hard packed ground here. I don't think it'll be a problem. I think, to be honest, with this on it, it'll be even better than it was. All right. Yeah. Whoa. A little easier on the controls. Alright. Reverse. You gotta keep in mind, I got no brakes, so we're just gonna go easy with this thing. Yeah, it's better with weight on it. I got my forks all the way back, I think. Yeah, they're all the way back. This thing's looking like it's wanting to kind of tilt or slide off. So I think we should probably try to get under it a little more. Trying to free up the forks. Yeah, maybe that's it. Yeah. This is totally going to be doable around here. And it has not leaked at all. We have got a good hydraulic cylinder. Now again, this is not super heavy, so we're not, I don't want to try lifting anything heavy until we get this thing fully functional, get everything else checked and check all the nuts and bolts of everything else. We've checked pretty much everything, but I just want to give it a more thorough investigation before we try doing anything truly heavy, and get some brakes on it. You know, this thing needs brakes. So let's get this thing got zero brake. I'm gonna have to do this because it wants to roll back. I need to get this thing as far forward as I can so I can get it on this slab. But as soon as I get up to the slab, it pushes the forklift back. So I'm gonna have to be quick on the controls to drop this thing before it rolls back. So I'm gonna need both hands for this. Give me a minute. All right, even with it wet, it made it up. It's a little higher over here, and this is pretty slippery. So, and we got the mower back on the slab, actually pushed back a little further than it was originally. So, works out. We've got scrap to haul. That's another thing we will probably, once we move some of this stuff around, get this project done, we can pull the low boy over here and use the forklift to just help load up scrap. I was worried about this cylinder, and this would get super expensive quick if this cylinder was not rebuildable. You know, if it was in such bad a shape that it was not going to survive, you know, that a seal, I guess, would not survive in it. But I feel pretty good about it. I think our honing that we did was the right call. I think I said that in the last video, but 100% the right call. You know, I think we would have eventually destroyed that seal for sure if we wouldn't have honed it. So, and then, you know, our pitting, you know, it is what it is. I think it's going to be all right. This right here is not oil. This is fluid film. So, you know, I sprayed that shaft. Well, when it went through the seal, of course, it just pushed all the fluid film up to the top. So, chain looks good. You know, this thing, I guess, sat outside some, but I don't think it spent years outside. You know, the chain is too good. You know, it's still super bendable, I guess. Is that what you want to use? Super, yeah, bendable or whatever. I don't know. So I think we got a good forklift. This is a big, to me, this is a big moment. I think the next thing we will do is address the brakes. I'm out of time for today, so I'm gonna do some cleaning. Shop's a mess, so I'm gonna try to get it back into somewhat kind of organization before I leave today. But we need to do a few things. I need to go and grease everything, you know, all these pivots, and just find every grease zert on it, grease it. We need to check the fluid in the transmission. I want to drain it just in case it's got some water in it and fill it up. We need to do that pretty quickly. We've got brakes to do. Something with the fuel pump. Not sure what we're going to do there. Tires. Yeah, it needs tires. I'm going to continue just keeping an eye out, and maybe I'll run across some. I would love to find, you know, maybe someone that had one of these that was just a pile of parts, and it had good rear wheels with tires that I could, you know, solid rubber tires that I could get, since we know we have an issue with the wheel itself. I would love to be able to do that. So to find something like that. So I think we're gonna do all of the other stuff to it before we address tires because of that. Just holding out that we could find a wheel, or even if the tire is no good on it, just another wheel that we can put here so we can have some kind of a seal. I am super excited with our results here. Yeah, this thing is good. And I think what I'll do is I will leave it. Of course, I'm going to move it in its little parking place, but I'm going to leave the forks up about that much, and we'll just let it sit. And I probably won't get another chance to work on this for about 2 weeks. So probably after this video, I've got a couple other videos of other projects to fill in the gap until we can get back to this thing. So it may be a couple weeks before you see a video again on it. I just don't know if I'm going to be able to get to it next weekend. Got a lot of stuff going on. So that's it. I'm rambling. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment down below. Hit the like button and subscribe for more. Let me know what you think with our cylinder rebuild. Let me know if you think it'll last, if you would have done anything differently. Total cost between the two seals, the cup seal thing and then the seal at the top, I got about $50 into this cylinder, and about 15 in the honing, the 2 threaded rods with the jam nut, the little nut connectors. So $65-ish in the process of redoing this cylinder. Got it from not even being able to hold itself up, the weight of itself, to lifting now without leaking down. I would say that is quite the accomplishment, and on the cheap. So that's great. Thanks for watching. All right, I already told you all that. See you on the next one.